What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Ysn Power Hour. DJ Oakley with you, and I'm glitchy for some reason. I don't know what's going on with the camera. I can't win right now, folks. I can't win. You're gonna have to deal with the glitches, whatever that is. It wasn't glitching 2 seconds ago. What I can tell you is we've got a great show for you today. We're gonna recap the games that were on Friday nights, and they were all on Friday night. And we're gonna be joined, hopefully, by the head ball coach himself, Mr. Andy Hake, who I had the distinct honor and pleasure of broadcasting the game with alongside Gary Altizer as we invaded South Range yet again, and South Range invades the playoffs in week 11, and they win a big one over Fairless to move on to week 12. Coach Hake will be along. We're going to talk about all the games here that we had on YSN, and you call him out, and the Macho Man cometh, ladies and gentlemen. This time, the Macho Man. What's up, Coach?
Hey, my man, how you feeling, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
What's going on?
Well, just trying to have a show and talk about some football.
Oh yeah, you on?
Yeah, we're on, baby. We're live and we're out there. So let's
Streaming it up.
you wanna go start from the jump where we were on Friday at South Range, where the Raiders got a big win over Fairless.
Yeah. Are we
What's
on right now?
Yeah, what impressed you about South Range against the Falcons on Friday
Oh
night?
man, they are who we thought they were, right? They're physical. They're well coached. I talked to Coach Rock yesterday for about an hour, and just talking to him, just telling him great job, and asking him about some things. I think the big takeaway with South Range is they're so fundamentally sound. I haven't got the chance to see them this year until then. They are who we think they always are. They're fundamentally sound. They're well coached. Watching Dan Yeagley's teams all those years and then seeing Rock pick up, it was like no skip. It was like the same kind of, he has a lot of the same coaches and it's the same tradition. I just think that the kids play so hard. They have a really nice line, very physical, and I like their defense does really good. We were talking about the run. They spill everything off to the side, and they're spilling you to the outside, and they're running to the ball. It's very difficult to run at the middle on them, and that's like historically South Range. They're going to spill things to the outside and run to the outside. And I thought Fairless had a good plan. It just, they ran into a bear.
We talked about it early. I mean, Fairless, like to your point, had a really good game plan going into the game,
Sure.
control the football, and it was a tight contest for a while. And then South Range pulls away. For you, you thought Fairless, and you said it a couple times during the broadcast. You thought they played basically the best game they possibly could against a Raider team, who obviously won
Yeah.
the state championship last year and is looking to do the same this year.
Yeah, they did a great job with screen. They tried to screen. They tried to go some quads, some empty, and they were letting the South Range. They're very aggressive up front, and they were coming after them. And there was that void area. They're trying to screen them. They did a good job. I thought they did a good job. It's just once South Range kind of started sniffing that out, I thought number all trying to make plays. They're bringing the ball, and it was difficult to deal with them.
Yeah. Let's go to the next game here. West Branch advances with a 33-20 victory. I know you and Coach Cooper pretty close, pretty tight knit. You know him like the back of your hand. He's got a pretty good squad over there, and they put up a lot of points in a hurry. Coach, what impresses you about West Branch? You there? We might have lost him. We'll get him back. Can you hear me? Well, while he takes the technical difficulties, we'll check in with Coach Aiken a little bit. You can see that there was a little bit of a lag to it. As I mentioned, West Branch gets a 33-20 victory. They move on. More games from around the area. Louisville gets a 34-0 shutout over Steubenville Central Catholic. the season ends with Southern Local being on the wrong side of a 35-20 loss for the Indians. So their season comes to a close. Lakeview also, their season comes to a close as the Bulldogs fall 42-21. We have all Ursuline in this one as New Philly is defeated by the Ursuline Irish by a score of 42-7. We've got 35-21 as the Springfield Tigers move on as they'll take on Danville this week. Mineral Ridge, all Ridge in this one, 35-6 over Jackson Milton in an all-local matchup. Danville, we talked about, they'll be playing Springfield this week at Danville. They beat McDonald on Friday, 51-7, setting up a big-time matchup. Western Reserve, all reserve, as they beat Lisbon 54-20. We also have Niles and Antoine Gardner having an unbelievable. Oh, excuse me. Wait, is that the right game? No, that's not the right game. Liberty loses 56-33. The Niles has the same logo as that. LeBray comes up short, I think, to Mogador, and it was 28-0. We've got Struthers over Girard, 21-16. South Range, as we indicated, 43-20. Final score over Fairless. We've got Hoban, 39-7 winners. Edison is on the wrong end of the stick, 33-8. We also, there's Niles, 65-28 over Edgewood as Antoine Gardner runs wild for over 400 yards and 6 touchdowns. East Liverpool's season comes to a close after making the playoffs as Poland advances with a big 42-14 win for Coach Pavlansky. And we've got a few more, but I think we got Coach Haig back on board. Let's see if we can pull him in. There he is. You there, ball coach?
Hey, guys, I'm sorry. Hey, there he is. Hey, I love that mic. I love that mic you have. That's like the Rush Limbaugh mic there. That's the real deal. That's the genuine article.
I'll get you one, buddy. Don't worry about it.
That's I like the mic though. That's sweet. No, but I was just, I know that I know we were talking about South Range, but again, really impressed with them. And I think I talked to Timmy Cooper from West Branch and asked him about Ridgewood, their opponent this week. And Ridgewood, again, a very spirited team. They do some things that, they're a traditional team where they want to run to the ball to the outside and go to the tight end wing a lot. But I think that they're going to have their hands full with South Range. I mean, just talking to Coach Cooper about things and Coach Rock, I just think they're going to have their hands full.
Yeah, I'm interested because I remember saying something to you during the broadcast is that I've never seen a team outside of Antoine Gardner and the Niles Red Dragons run against South Range successfully. So,
I played against them since I was a kid, in the old ICL. That was, and they're always like that. They're hard to run against. Coaching against them, I've had some success, but, more times than not, no. You know what I mean? I'm able to knock them off a couple times, but that's a team that, historically, they're going to play very physical and they're going to run the ball at you and they're going to stop the run. And that's what you got to do in high school football if you're going to have success. You have to run the ball and stop the run. I mean, there's only a few teams I've ever seen anomalies where they can throw the ball constantly in this kind of weather. It's going to get cold now. It ain't August, so the water bug's a nice thing, but the kick of the banshee come fall, that's what does it. And the teams that run the ball the most, that's the kick of the banshee, man. And they're more successful, and that's South Range's MO.
Well, we're closer to Santa Claus than we are Uncle Sam at this point. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of how the cold weather teams come out to play. You mentioned you got to talk to Coach Cooper. His team successful, 33-20.
Awesome. I'm really happy for him. I coached him for 4 years in high school. He started 4 years for me at Western Reserve. Then he went on to play at Waynesburg, and now he has an opportunity to coach. He's a great guy. He's running a really nice program there. They're scoring a lot of points. They have their hands full with Streetsboro. I know Streetsboro is a good team. They have a couple of tremendous skill players on their team. So they're going to have to play ball against Streetsboro, but they can do it. And, if someone can pull it off right now, West Branch is one of the hotter teams in the area the last couple of years. They can pull it off.
A Streetsboro team that beat Beaver Local, a Beaver Local team that is a lot of offense, kind of similar to West Branch, but not really. you think about West Branch, you think about Coach Cooper. I mean, his teams can run the race. They can it can be a sprint and it can be all
They
offense. I mean, for a game like this, you said when the temperature, when the mercury falls, Coach, do you rely on your offense? Do you rely on your defense a little bit more? How do you get into that race of matching kind of the war games of good offenses?
Well, you know what? When you go to the playoffs, I always tell the kids it's like going in the dark forest. You know, you're gonna when you go to the playoffs, you know, you're invited. It's a hey, great, we made it to the playoffs. But high school football, it's a very unwelcoming tournament. You know, you're gonna find people from strange towns and strange places that play serious football. And when you go into the dark forest, you better stick together because there's enemies that you're going to see that you haven't seen during the year, and some great teams that you don't even know are out there, and their brand is hitting. And I always said that to my kids: if you're not going to hit in the playoffs, then you're going to get hit. And whoever, you know, football it's a funny thing because when you talk about football, it's he who hits the hardest, the longest, and doesn't screw up usually wins. You know, and that's what I know you can say all these formulas and everything, but it's a very violent game, and the most violent team usually that doesn't screw up the most wins the game. And I think that you know, the teams that play the most violent, that's why South Trains has been having all that success. They play violent football, and if you don't play violent football, Kirtland plays violent football, Mogador plays violent football. But I think that West Branch, you know, talking about West Branch, they want to take you to the deep waters. You know, Girard does that to you. They want to take you to the deep waters and see if you can score with them. And teams that, if you can't score with those kind of teams, you're going to have a hard time. Struthers was able to combat Girard last week and had a great game plan, and their line is very physical, and they played that kind of game with Girard. But West Branch and Girard, to me, in this area, they want to take you to the deep waters and see if you can, you know, they'll score with you and say, keep scoring with us, and we'll see what happens. But West Branch has their hands full this week, and they can win that game, but it's going to be little things. You know, they played Woodridge, and Tim told me that it was 14-0 West Branch. They get a punt blocked. Then they muff at a punt. And then Woodridge goes 20 yards, and next thing you know, they're down 14-13. And you have to play complete games in the playoffs. You have to play complete games because the teams you're playing are good. And if you give them momentum, then, you know, momentum's a funny thing. You know, once your team gets momentum, it takes the life out of you. Last year, West Branch, I feel, got upset by Jefferson. But Jefferson got hot at the right time. They had that quarterback that was one of the hottest players in the area during that time, and they upset West Branch. So you could be a great football team.
Gotta love technology, right? Gotta love technology. Um, yeah, I agree with Coach Hake. You can be a good football team and come up short because he talks about these teams that are in the forest, and you got to drag some of these guys, some of these towns that you're never going to. You never thought you'd go to for a football game for sure, and all of a sudden you find yourself there. So we'll try to get Coach Hake back on the call here in a minute. One of
Hey,
the
you there?
games. Yep, got him. There he is. Okay, there we
All
go.
right. Sorry. Yeah, I know.
You're
It's
okay.
funny things
You're
happen. But no, there's a lot of games this week where I think that they're it's that kind of thing. You know, Lowville plays Western Reserve. They played each other this year already. I think that's Lowville's only loss was to Reserve. Reserve's playing hot right now. They're playing hot. They have a good group of. I remember when I was there. That was the class that's juniors and seniors were seventh and eighth graders. My last year there, and they won the back-to-back league championships. So Reserve has a nice team, and I like their chances. But they're going to have to play a Lowville team who's hot. They just knocked off Springfield, and they got one of those Balloon boys running around back there. So you know what? You're going to have to find a way to corral him, and that game's going to come down to turnovers and special teams because there's a lot. One of these teams are tightly matched. It's going to come down to turnovers, and it's going to come down to special teams, muff punts, you know, not covering on kick. You got to put your best players out there. I remember I played Shadyside one time at Western Reserve, and Shadyside was 10-0, and we went 8-2 at Western Reserve. And Timmy Cooper was a senior, and Timmy Cooper opening kickoff ran it back at Shadyside, and Shadyside started all their sophomores on the kickoff team, and we started all our seniors on the kickoff team. When they kicked off to us, I went, they're not starting these. And they did. They played children, and we had all of our seniors, and that really set the tone for the game. So I just think in these big games, you got to play your best players. You got to tell guys to suck it up, play tough. If you want to play next week, then you got to sell out and be willing to die tonight. And that's what it is. No one's going to die, but you tell the kids, we're dying tonight. And if guys have the mentality, we're dying tonight, then a lot of times, if they're willing to die, then they'll quite possibly live.
So when you're looking at a game like we're going to see, you mentioned it already, Louisville and Western Reserve on a grass field in front of two small communities that football means so much.
Yeah.
What does it come down to? I mean, it comes down to the little stuff, doesn't it? It's not so much the big stuff anymore.
Well, your best players have to play their best. Your best players got to do it. It's those down the line guys that really have to. Down the line guys have to play quality games, and you have to rely on those guys to step up and play hard and make it mean a lot to them, and make it mean a lot to you're playing for your team, you're playing for your family, your school. It has to mean a lot to them, and the guys that it means more to usually, there's a lot of factors though. Like I said, turnovers, special teams. But it really comes down to the Jimmies and Joes. Are the best players at Middle Ridge, that Ian Erb, he's going to play. Luke Henning at reserve, he's going to play. That Rourke from Springfield, he's going to play. Alazar is going to play for West Branch. There's some special guys going to be there. It's those down the line guys. It has to mean that much more to them. And when you get those guys to play like maniacs, now you have a shot in these games. It's big game mentality, man. It is. It's big game mentality. And Marvin Harrison Jr., he's going to play great in all these games for Ohio State. It's the other guys. You got to get them to play up to that kind of, hey, what's your ceiling? Get to your ceiling. And if we can get you to play to your ceiling, then, or at least close to it, then more guys playing close to that ceiling, you have a better chance of winning.
We go from small towns to bigger towns. Youngstown versus Canfield. Youngstown Ursuline, of course, taking on Canfield. Both teams winners on Friday night. Impressive victories by both. When you think about Canfield and Ursuline battling, you don't have to go very far in the history books. You got to go last year, where obviously Canfield, on their way to a state title, able to pull one off against Ursuline, and a win that a lot of that community still raving about. Obviously, it's in the back of Dan Reardon's mind as well that Canfield possibly took a state championship away from him to put in their own cabinet. But when you think about this game, a big game, a rematch, these kids very familiar with one another, what do you think of?
I've played Pavlansky with some great teams at Rayen and East in the city. And one thing with Canfield, man, they do what they do and they do it well, and they believe in the system, and Pavlansky's a great coach. He's going to get his kids ready to play. Hey, on paper, I'm sure that most people would say Ursuline's the better team this year. But kids in Canfield, it means a lot to them to play for their school. It means a lot to them to play football there, obviously. And he's going to get them up and ready to play. I don't know what's going to happen. If you're a betting man, I'm sure you'd bet on Ursuline. They got all kind of guys, but I really, and Reardon does a heck of a job there. And, I'm sure man for man, Ursuline might be better on paper, but Canfield's going to play with all their heart. He always gets them to do that. There's no doubt about it. And I think that game, I know people would say, hey, Canfield, it's a revenge game. I'm sure Ursuline wants to beat them from last year and this and that. But, hey, Canfield, it means a lot to those kids to play for Canfield. And they're going to play with all their heart. They always do. They knocked off some really great teams that we had in the city. We had some great personnel, but, Canfield had some great teams, and they always play so hard. Them in South Range, they might have different programs, but they have a lot of the same characteristics. And, when I'm coaching teams, you try to pick from guys that are really successful. Pavlansky, Yeagley, Anarella. There's all kind of guys in the area that they do things differently, but they have a lot of the same denominators. You know what I mean? A lot of the same things they're doing and what they're preaching. I was a rival growing up, and McDonald was a big rival to me. At Middle Ridge, at Western Reserve. Dan Williams is as good as any coach in the area when it comes to working with what he has and getting them to play hard. Bob Spates the same way. And there's so many coaches in the area. Guerrero gets guys to play like heck. So it's just, I think there's certain teams, they're coached a certain way, and there's these expectations, and the town allows the coach to coach them hard. And I think that those are the teams that are year to year constantly having that success.
I'm really interested because we talk about the 11-game win streak that Ursuline's on, but Canfield started this. They started the season. The Cardinals did 1-3, right? Haven't lost since. So you look at
means
that.
A lot to them, and they're playing people.
They are. They're playing some dogs, and I mean, I feel like, and it's going to be. I know Coach Pavlansky. When we talk on Wednesday, it's going to be the same song and dance. It's going to be. Listen,
is English healthy? Is the running back healthy? English?
Scotty Eaton. English.
No,
they moved English to fullback because he likes hitting people a little bit more. And Scotty
Eaton. Those
guys
are healthy.
Yeah,
well, they got to. They're good. What? You know what? It's the human will, man. They're going to go out there and they're going to play hard. Yeah. And they're not going to worry about. And if Ursuline beats them, they beat them. But Canfield's not going to roll over. That's a defending state champion. Those guys are going to play their apples off. Same thing with. Hey, if South Range loses, you're going to have to beat them to death.
Yep.
And I say that for a lot of teams. This Struthers team seems to be very tough. Niles, this back has had such an electric last couple of games, but he's been steady all year, and you're going to run into death. And if you beat Niles, you're going to have to beat that guy to death.
Yeah, you're not kidding. I mean, so I'm trying to make a transition here, right? So you've got these two teams that are on a run, but we've got another team in our area under our tutelage that's been on a run. They're 11-0, Coach. And when you look at it and they're calling for it, Brent Johnson wants to know your thoughts on Garrettsville Garfield this season and what they've been able to accomplish.
Garrettsville Garfield, it's funny because they're in northern Trumbull County there a little bit, or Portage. They're Portage, I'm sorry, and at the top of Trumbull, bottom of Portage. And they kind of go under the radar, and that coach has built such a good program. I know Steve Wiley was there. And then the coach that's there now took over, and
Mike
all
Mosier.
he's done was Mosier, and all he's done was build the place up. And they're like formidable every year, And there's another. It's a very physical group. They run that single wing, and it's interesting to watch because you don't see a lot of teams do that, and they'll shift and they'll do some fun things. But they're going to play their hearts out. They're in the same region there with Norwayne and South Range and Perry, so. They can make us run as good as anybody. I just think at this time of year, if you have a chip in a chair and you're in the game and you have an opportunity, you got to sell it to your kids. This is our chance. This is our opportunity. This is our moment. You got to go seize it. What did Marty Schottenheimer used to say? There's a gleam, right? There's a gleam, gentlemen. There's a gleam, and it's out there, and you can only get it. It's only going to glimmer for a minute. Life is just these opportunities and these gleams. Go get the gleam. And I think that, the teams that are in the playoffs right now, and there's a lot of local teams, it's their chance, it's their moment, and they have to play well. There's no doubt about it. But I think a lot of times it comes down to who screws up the most. And a lot of these games are going to come down to that, You got to play clean, and you can't turn the ball over. You got to play good special teams. But, that Crestview or that Garrettsville team, that's a good football team. They're good every year. I
mean, Keegan Sell has been
that dude's like some WWE wrestler, isn't he?
He's a stud.
Keegan Sell? Yeah, man. Sign him up.
And he's been there seemingly for like 17 years, it feels like, because he's going to have every.
I've heard his name back in the 60s. That guy's been there, seems like you said, forever.
He had 180 tackles or something along those lines.
Is that what he had?
Yeah. I mean,
there's some guys this year that had so many tackles. The Hamburger boy from Reserve.
Yep.
The Hartley boy from Columbiana.
Yep.
Just so many tackles.
The kid from Latonia broke the school record.
Insane. That's so many tackles. I think Garrettsville has a shot. Who does Garrettsville play this week?
I'll have it. I got it. Hang on. Hang tight.
That's a tough region. That's a tough region.
What burned me was we moved the scoreboard that I was utilizing, right, for this show. Yeah. Well, we moved it ahead a week. So I had to go back, and I'm going off of like graphics right now. So me trying to be and having served everybody, right? And
are they? I think Garrettsville's 4 in their region. I think it went Perry. I think it went Perry, South Range, Norwayne, and then Garrettsville, if I'm
We
not
got
correct.
it. I know we have it. Garrettsville, Garfield. Where are they?
I
Yeah,
thought they were
they're
four.
five. They're five. They're five, and
They're
they're gonna
five. Who was
play
four?
Harrison Central.
All right, Cat is. They're tough. I played
Yeah.
them
So
before,
and
Berlin.
they play each other.
Do they?
Yeah.
That's it. That'll be a knock'em sock'em game, and the winner of that will play Perry.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Or do they get South Range and
South
South?
Range will play Crestwood, Norwayne if they both win.
You're
I don't
right.
want to
You're
put
right.
the cart in front of the horse,
Yep.
but yeah, those are all good matchups, man. Those are all
Okay.
good matchups.
So here's thanks Jeremy chiming in with Harrison Central. Appreciate it. They're way better at this than I am. I've got to keep track of 13 games from that standpoint. All right, here's a good question. All right, and they kind of set it up. This is Michael Dunn. He says the success of Springfield has had without an open enrollment has been impressive.
Crazy,
right?
So impressive.
So the question is, how has open enrollment changed the game? And you and I kind of talked about this Friday night during the broadcast of kind of how I think and we think open enrollment has leveled the playing field with kind of the Catholic schools and things of that nature, because you've seen some more public schools winning state championships and having more success because of the open enrollment. How do you feel that open enrollment has changed the game and from just the standpoint of football?
Well, I think this. You worry about yourself, worry about your program, your team. Try to make your team win. Make it attractive. People want to go to South Range because they're winning. People want to go to your school when you're having success. And that's not, you shouldn't have to apologize for that because, now going out and openly recruiting guys and going after guys, that's something else. But making your school attractive to where people want to come, that's something else. When you're winning, people want to be a part of it. And if they want to correlate their values, this is the age of school choice. If people want to correlate their values to your school, and they want to conform to your school, if you have open enrollment, your arms are wide open. I'm sure most coaches say that. Hey, our arms are wide open if people want to correlate their values to our school. It's somewhat levels. It's always a sticky conversation, because, going out and openly recruiting is different than having open enrollment and doing well and attracting people. I don't think South Range recruits.
I don't think there's a lot of schools that recruit.
Well,
I think
openly recruiting is like, Massillon, nothing against them, but here's a public school. I think they have a player from 17 counties. Okay. So if you want to, and I'm not for recruit, I've been staunch against, but if you make your school attractive, people want to go there. It's one thing. 17 counties. I just said, openly recruiting is differently. I think it is. And I think that, it's like this Michigan sign stealing thing. And I'm going to say this. I used to play, McDonald was a big rivalry of ours when I was at reserve. I would do the hand signals. After a few years, I was the one doing the hand signals. I could teach my hand signals to a gym class of girls. After a while, they would see my hand signals and yell out to play. I'm not mad at them for that. So I had to get two guys next to me doing the hand signals. Whoever had the hat on backwards, that was the hot guy.
Oh.
Okay. Well, there's 1,000 ways to skin it, but that's what we did. And I never thought, I'm going to call it OHSAA because McDonald knows my hand signals. And I'm not I'm not some Michigan fan, and I'm not paying to go. I'm doubting McDonald went and scouted us just to see my hand signals because it was simple. But there's something to be said about, hey, look, I'm looking over there. I see the guys doing it. And, hey, counter is like a countertop. You do this, it's counter. Trap was a mouse trap. And then, one hand's going to the right, two hands is going to the left. So if you saw me do it 20 times, you'd say, that's what the guys do. That's what it is. And if you want to let your guys know about it, shame on me for making it that simple. You know what I mean? So then I had to have some other guys involved. And I think that's what you correlate that to open enrollment. If you're not going after guys and saying, come here just to play ball, open enrollment, when you're saying, hey, I'm going to make my school attractive, we're winning, and it's the age of school choice. If you can come in here, now it also hurts you because a kid can only play half a year if he's going there and he doesn't move in town. So I think they're trying to do things to close loopholes. You know what I mean? But people are always going to find ways to steal signs or or do whatever it is to try to get the edge. People are going to try to get the edge. You know, Ursuline is a very traditional team. Um, they've always been successful. Mooney's always been successful. And people want to go there. Now, are they openly recruiting? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that.
So
But
here's a perfect segue. It's Sam saying wherever provides the best opportunity for the kid is where parents should, be allowed to send their kids. I mean, you and I talked and it kind of started with the capitalistic mentality of, listen, you should want your school to be the best, and you should want people to want to be a part of your team, right? Whether that's your school community, your football team, your baseball team, your chess team, your band, whatever that may be. I don't think, and I don't want to slip his name in here, but there's a coach that has come up with a line this year that I've really adopted. We're not going to apologize for winning. I think that, and we can get way off topic with this. So, like, I think we as a society, and sports has followed, we've grown accustomed to apologize for being good at stuff because, listen, sports is about who's the best. Right. That's it. It's a competition. And sometimes we apologize for being better than the other person. And I think everything's kind of followed in those footsteps. So I think with this open enrollment stuff, we feel the need to bash and belittle schools and whether they be, open enrollment, whether they not, whether it's, the parochial schools or the public schools. I think we've kind of pointed to them and said, oh, shame on you for taking kids from outside, instead of looking ourselves in the mirror and saying, man, we need to get better at this. We have more kids coming to us, and we become a commodity instead of almost an embarrassment.
Sure. That's a great point. I mean, at our school at Valley Christian, we have 70 boys in the school, and that's clearly Division 7, but we play Division 6. I haven't got a guy transfer in to high school. You know what I mean? I haven't got but we're a private school, and I guess they count some kids. I haven't got a kid since I've been there transfer in high school. I haven't got any, but we lost a few. But we're play Division 6, and if that's what they want me to play, that's fine. When I was at Western Reserve, we only had 104 boys in the school. We had 60 on the football team.
Yeah,
I thought recruit my school. Yeah. Go recruit. I was a 7th and 8th grade social studies teacher, the only one. So I said, I don't know how many boys are going to play junior high football, but they're all going to be in my class. And I'm going to get them. I would even tell them, the heck with football. Just join the team and hang out with me and hang out with your buddies. And we're going to play some football, but we're really going to hang out during the summer. And we're going to do some fun things. And I felt if you get the kids involved, just get them involved. Even a kid that's not that good when he's 7th and 8th grade. If you can get him in the weight room and get him lifting, and you get him lifting, and you get him involved, by the time they're juniors and seniors, now you got a guy that wasn't really a good football player, but now he's mature physically, and he can help you, whether it's special teams, maybe he becomes a starter. A lot of success stories that way. I just think you start from within. Recruit your own school. Make your school better, and then you're going to get kids that live in North Jackson or Canfield or Hubbard or something that say, hey, Mineral Ridge, I did get some guys open enrollment in junior high at Reserve. They said, hey, we want to be a part of this. And again, it wasn't recruiting. Never recruited. Didn't recruit anybody. I didn't even know the kids till they came. Velasquez, Nab, Seth Phillips, Brandon Pierce. I had guys, the Hively brothers. There's a lot of great players that came, and they came open enrollment in junior high, and they sure were good football players. I didn't know, but I know that we benefited from that. Wasn't openly recruiting anybody, but it's a funny conversation because it's really it's really a sticking point to a lot in it really is. No, it is. And you know what, Coach Reardon and Pelini and the guys at those private schools, JFK, they've had a lot of success through the years. And I'm not talking about I'm talking about the 50, 60, 70.
Yeah.
They're expected to win. Hey,
yeah.
You're not going to get that job and not be expected to win.
No.
That's how it is. That's not coaching at a small public school. You better, hey, to some degree, I'm not being mean, they know it. You better go get guys because they got to play the best in Ohio. And if they don't win, there's heat. You ain't going to be at Mooney or Ursuline for 10 years and be 3-7. They're not going to accept that. The alumni is not accepting it. The donors aren't accepting it. That's just how it goes. I'm not being mean about it. Everybody knows it. It's not being mean talking about it, you know. But those guys, all those coaches at those schools do a heck of a job. They do. They do a really good job. You know, Reardon came back and got him. His first year, they were subbing and he got him going again. Now look at them. Now they're one of the better schools in the
For a new
area.
powerhouse, for sure.
I mean, really.
Let's hop back on the playoff train here. We've talked about a lot of teams already. Is there anybody that's still in the playoffs, obviously, that you wouldn't want to be in front of right now?
Kirtland. I wouldn't want to be in front of Kirtland. And I don't know if they're locally. They're just north of us, but it's not like they're on the other part of the country. Kirtland, I talked to Tiger Laverde. I had an opportunity to talk to him after his game against Columbiana. And, you know, and I said, hey, man, the last 11 years, dude, you've won 6 state titles and 5 runners-up. Now, think about that. 6 state titles and 5 runners-up.
It's like LeBron James.
What in God's green earth are you doing?
Yeah.
And he says he's a very humble guy, and he's a nice guy. He's a math teacher, and he's a very nice guy. Lives across the street from the stadium. Drove me nuts when I played him a couple times. He walks across the street right before the game. I never seen anything like it. I got my guys ready to invade Normandy, and this guy walks across the street 3 minutes to kickoff and beats the living snot out of me and sends me packing. But he just says, hey, man, you coach every bit as hard as me, probably harder. My guys have a culture here where they want to lift. They lift 6 days a week. And we play a real physical brand. We talk about it. And when people are wanting to run bubbles and jailbreaks and screens, we're talking about running power football. And people, they break. They quit at some point. You know, again, it's beautiful to have the dancing of the water bug, but there's nothing like the kick of the banshee. And the
I knew it was coming.
Schools that value hitting, and the schools that value playing physical and in the weight room, those are the guys that are the best. And it's culture. It is. It's culture. Everybody thinks it's magic. It's not magic. Mogador is like a traditional team. You know, they're always good to me. You know, Kirtland's a more newbie. The last 15, 20 years, they've been this thing. Mogador's been like that forever. And they have that culture. They're physical. They want to play that brand of football. Adorney does a great job, but the coach before that did a great job. They just play that brand of football. And the people that play like that, they're the ones that you want to stay the heck away from. You don't want to go play Marion local. You don't want to go line up against Coldwater. South Range is getting that conversation. I don't think teams can't wait to play Canfield. You know what I mean? They value it. They lift all season, all off season, and they value it. You know, and I don't know anybody in this area that's like a hands down winning it. Ursuline has a great shot. If they keep winning, God bless them. They're gonna have to run in Toledo Central Catholic if they keep winning, and that'll be a heck of a game. But there's really nobody in the area that I think you better pencil them in to win the state title. I think there's, you know, it's up in the air, and again, there's monsters out there in the forest that you don't know about. You know, there's small towns with Liberty Center in Division 5. I've played them before. Wild team. Norwalk St. Paul's in Division 7. Mm-hmm. You know, they didn't have a great year. Go play them and see what it's about with the hitting. This Dalton team, rough bunch of guys. Perry's great. And then I think the teams locally, I think they have a chip in a chair, but they have to play well. They have to play well. If God bless Niles and Struthers and Poland and Western Reserve and Lowville and Springfield and all the teams around here, they got to play well. If they don't play well, they're going to meet up with those teams in the dark forest, and it happens. Hey, either you win the state title or you don't. Either you win the state title or you lose at some point. So, and losing at some point doesn't mean that you had an unsuccessful season. It's just, hey, we found somebody that night they're a little bit better than us.
Do you, and you said this, there's nobody that you penciled in, right, to a state championship under the YSN banner. Do you think that's an advantage though? Because it's everybody loves to be the underdog. Would you rather have people say, "Yeah, we like you, but we only like you so much," or would you rather have somebody say, "You're the favorite, and now you're going to get everybody's best punch"?
Well, you'd rather go under the radar, but I mean, would you pick somebody? Would you pick somebody above Curlin right now in that region?
Well, if you listen to everybody on Yappy, I picked Columbiana over Kirtland, but I'm just trying to
Okay,
sell tickets to pay-per-views.
I get it, but I mean, I mean, South Range, Perry, and Norwayne, I think, and then Garrettsville, there's a little bit more parity in that conversation. I think Division 7, Dalton, if I had to guess somebody to win 7, Dalton might be the better. They played Kirtland 14-7, and they beat up Mogador during the year. Then they beat Norway. But I don't know injuries. I don't know, in the kids' minds. Kids are a funny thing. Girlfriend breaks up with them on Tuesday, and the kid screwed up on Friday. I don't. It's a human condition, man. The human condition is a funny thing. 3 guys got the flu. This guy got suspended, and our best player's girlfriend broke up with him. I've dealt with it all, man. And I've dealt with talking to the girl about breaking up with them after the football game. So hey, look, and I'm being serious. Hey, look, sometimes you got to play sick. And I'm not saying death sick, but say, hey, I got a temperature. Hey, take some Advil or a Tylenol as long as you feeling it. Let's go. You know what I mean? And it's not. And guys want to play, man. Guys want to play hurt. Guys want to play sick. But you're dealing with a lot of things when you're dealing with kids, man. When you're dealing with sports in general, but when you're dealing with kids, there's so many variables. So do I think that we have teams in this area that can win state titles? Sure. Do I think that they're going to have to they're going to meet up with some people in those dark woods and play above themselves and not worry about what other people are saying on Yappy or what Drew Pastor thought the percentages were or the talking heads on TV? We have a luxury talking about it. It's the guys in the arena. It's the man in the arena that's going to decide the fate of their team and their school, and that's what it comes down to. The man in the arena. That's what his face marred with blood and sweat. He's going to be the one that determines the fate of the game. And I best of luck to all the teams in the area. I hope they all win. I do. I hope they all win. I hope they all do well. Got a lot of friends in coaching, and if I had to pick someone to win the whole thing right now, the best team in the area with the best shot might be Ursuline. But again, Toledo Central Catholic's in there. But they could get knocked off. And then, it's just, you got to play ball, man. You got to play ball. Canfield's going to play Ursuline with all they have this weekend. They'll play with all they have. That. They're not backing down. Poland's not going to back down. Did Struthers play Poland?
Yeah.
No, well, that's going to be a knock 'em down game. Lowville plays reserve. That's going to be a knock 'em down game. And there's great players on both teams, and the coaches and the kids in the town want to win on both teams. So it's going to mean a lot to everybody.
I'm looking forward to all the local matchups that we have coming up.
Some great ones, man.
Okay, so I'm going to run down our list, and you tell me what one game that you're most like. You're going to be in the booth with me on Friday, but what game we're going to have on in the booth, kind of keeping an eye on. All right, so we've got Canfield and Ursuline, which to me that's my on. Struthers and Poland, Lowville and Western Reserve. That's 3 like YSN versus YSN right off the jump, right? Then you've got, let me make sure I've got this right. Barberton, Archbishop Hoban, which I think is going to be a dogfight. Streetsboro and West Branch, which is going to be, I think, a score fest.
Yeah, that's going to be crazy.
Of course, Ridgewood and South Range, which we will be at. Cuyahoga Heights and United, team you're very familiar with.
Both
Austin
those
Town,
teams, good game.
Yeah. Austin Town Fitch at number 10. They're going to take on Walsh Jesuit, which everybody seems to be a slam dunk on. But again, Fitch is battle tested this year, and I like TJ Parker's chances in that one as well. Another one I'm interested in.
Climb there with Walsh Jesuit, but they can win. They have the guys. They have the guys to win.
So Niles McKinley, did you see Antoine Gardner go off?
He's been having a heck of a season, but he's really come on when it counts the most. This is what I'm talking about. Like, the best players got to play their best when it counts the most. And he's playing his best football. And now, hey, their offensive line must be playing some great football right now because he ain't doing that by himself.
No.
And he's a great player. But football's football, man. You need 11 guys playing their apples off, and his
he'd be
line
the
must
first
be
to
playing
tell
great.
you. He'd be the first to tell you. I mean, when you run for almost 5, you've had guys that run for almost 5 bills, right?
You know what I've had? Yeah, I've had guys run for a lot of yards. You know what? Yeah, I've had guys run for a lot of yards, but that's an extraordinary feat. And some guys have great days, and when they do, I always tell them this. Hey, the news is going to talk to you. Damn it, talk about your teammates. And then the kids understand. You talk about your teammate. They're talking to you, so obviously you're getting the shine. So go talk about your teammates because they're the ones that put you in the position to be interviewed.
Deflect, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, you don't want to say
every time. All right. So we've got McKinley and Mentor Lake Catholic. I think that's pardon me, gonna be a good one. We said Garfield and Harrison Central. I think that is a
great game.
knock
you
them
just
out.
Named they're all great games. I think those games could all go either way. I'm serious. All these games can go either way.
Pymatuning Valley and Mogador.
What? On a normal year, I would say Moggy is going to cut them down like the Roman cavalry. But Pie Valley's had a great year. They played some great football down the stretch. Real tough backs. You never know. If I was a betting man, it was Vegas. I'm betting on Mogador because that's like history's team.
Yeah.
But you don't know. You don't know. Pie Valley's played really hard this year, and got to give them a lot of credit.
Ridge and Rootstown interest me like no other.
Yeah, I just saw a film on them, on Rootstown, and I scrimmage Ridge, and I I live in town, so I kind of know a little bit about them. Shaner is their coach, a friend of mine. I coach with them. Ridge can win that game. They're going to have to play well. And they can't be turning the ball over and, punt, try to get field position, punt if you have to punt, play good special teams, hang around in the fourth quarter. Ridge can win that game. I did say Ridge was going to win by 28 points against Jackson.
You did.
What was the final?
I don't think it was that close. I'll pull it up. It was 35-6.
I gave you the old Andy capper. I don't win all of them, though. I lose some. I screw up. So,
I think Shaner was trying to help you out with that one.
Yeah, No, you know what? Jackson has no offense to Jackson. They're kind of going through some things, but they have tough kids over there. But I know Ridge got healthy, and they were angry about that situation, and a lot of kind of perfect storm lined up. But
we also have Springfield and Danville. Danville put it to McDonald last week.
I played Danville in the playoffs before, man. They had this guy named Shaky Durbin, man. He was like a nightmare. He was like a quarterback. He was like, I'm serious, he was their defensive end. He was like 6'2", 260, quarterback, defensive end, throwing guys around on defense, and then he went to quarterback, and he was like throwing us around like the Hulk. But Danville's a very tough team. So,
I think neighbor.
My man, Balestrino, my dude, 35-6. Dude's right. But no, Danville, I'm betting against Springfield, man. They're going to play ball. Why would they back down? Why would they back down? And that guy was right that said that earlier. Springfield is Springfield, Poland, Canfield, Borman. None of them have open enrollment. None of them have open enrollment. So, at least, they take a lot of pride in, Springfield is for the kids of New Middletown. Poland is for the kids of Poland. Canfield is for the kids of Canfield. Boardman is for the kids of Boardman. And, got to give a lot of credit to people that don't have open enrollment, and they say, we're just going to do it with the kids here in town.
No, we're excited, my friend, because we've got 16 teams still alive in the tournament. We've got 13 games all available for you on Friday for $9.99. 3 out of 13 games are YSN versus YSN matchups, and 7 out of 13 games are hosted by a YSN school. So we've got a ton of games that you can go see in person, but even more games that you can see right here on YSN. Okay, my last
This,
my
yeah,
last question for you before we go is there's been a lot of hubbub about the ticket prices of going to a high school football game this year, particularly because it's been handed down by the OHSAA that it's $15 if you buy your ticket at the gate, $12 if you buy your ticket online. Uh,
yeah,
we've had people that have done a little bit of research for us. The PIAA, specifically the WIPIAL, they're charging $5 for students and $7 for adults for Pennsylvania football. For
yeah.
you, Andy, I know that you won't hold back on any of this, and I want to make sure you don't get in trouble, obviously. But like, $15 for a high school football game seems a little bit much.
What do you think? I think about that.
I think you're about to explode.
Well, no, you know what? You know what's going to happen? Uh, 1 second.
Gotcha.
My earpiece died.
That's okay. We can still hear you.
Okay, I think that the OHSAA is going to gouge the people to where there's going to be policy created in order to deal with that, because that is gouging. And I know they're saying, well, they give schools money. They give schools $1,500 to host a game, $1,500, and then they take all the revenue from the gate. They don't pay for the stadium. It's not like they're playing at the OHSAA stadiums. They're playing at the home field of these schools, and they're taking the gate, and that is such an exuberant amount of money to ask to go to these games. And people, and I don't understand what their ideology is with it, the philosophy of asking for that much. I just think a student should be $3-4, and an adult $6. I mean, if you're asking me, you know what? It's the community. Everybody should be welcome to that, not just those who can afford it. And I'm not talking politically. I'm not getting into that stuff. I'm just saying I just think that that's over the top. I think that there's going to be legislation and policy that's going to be created to combat this, because I feel that, and this isn't just me. Hey, there's a lot of coaches that don't even want to be with the OHSAA no more. There's a lot of coaches that want to start their own tournament and say we don't even need these guys because this is the gouging that's going on. And I even think some of the guys at the OHSAA know this is wrong. And I don't know the exact amount of money carryover they have every year, but it's an awful lot amount of money for a nonprofit organization. So much money carryover, and I don't hate them for trying to make money. It's they add these extra weeks in the playoffs, and then they take all the revenue. It just doesn't look good. No matter what the intentions are, it doesn't look good, and it makes people feel as if they're being taken. And we have some legislation being created that's going to try to combat this. I mean, I'm not trying to be a jerk to those guys, and I actually know a couple of those guys. I don't think Bo Rugg likes that. I don't think they like it. I don't. Some of the guys I talk to, but why that is policy and why is that their ideology, I don't know. But it's very offensive to people that have to pay. What is it, $15 at the gate?
$15 at the gate.
What do you think about that $15 at the gate? What do you think about the OHSAA charging you to broadcast games? And all you're doing, and you know what? You're charging what, $9.99
for all of them.
Hey, look. When the Vindicator closed, and I don't know if they're closed, but when they shut the paper down and all that stuff, and it was like, who is going to give us our sports news now? Who's going to give us our heroes? Where are our heroes going to be propped up, and who's going to do this? You have an outlet that does that, thank God, and there's some other guys doing that too. There's some other guys doing that, and that's great. But you're doing something where you're keeping alive and putting on a platform our heroes, our local heroes, which are more and more important than the national heroes. Because, I'd rather look up to the high school football team and follow them than the Cleveland Browns or the Pittsburgh Steelers or guys that I have nothing in common with Deshaun Watson. I'd rather go. Ian Urban plays for Ridge. I'd rather go follow him. I'm just saying, there's a lot of, and you prop them up, and for them to charge you what they charge you in order to put a game on. And it seems like legal extortion. I don't know any other way. Am I wrong? I mean,
No, you're not.
I
You're
mean,
not. I mean,
people talk about a lot more offensive things about abortion and border problems and gun control every day. We don't even, and those are really hot button issues. I think this one is, hey, this isn't common sense doing this. This is a little bit over the top, and it should be addressed in a proper manner. And
listen, I'm not gonna lie to you. When you're
I
cutting,
think I said that as good as I could say it too. I think I was as proper.
You did an awesome job. We're not. Well, I'm sure we're gonna get emails from it because that's what happens. That's when Andy Hake's on, I get emails and messages.
There's unhinged people on both sides that are gonna give their thoughts, and that's fine too. They have a right to say what they want to say. They have a right to say. People have a right to say what they want to say. But I know what high school sports is about, and it's about propping up young people and building their character. Some of this other stuff. Is what it is, man. I hope they make their extra buck, though. You know what I mean? Thank God. And I hope they make their money.
Yeah, it's a tough pill for me to swallow. And here's the crux of it. I don't even pay to go to the game because I'm working, right? So it's not like I'm sitting there saying, "Woe is me," because I've got to pay $15. Again, this is a situation where we're trying to be the voice of reason here and say,
I haven't paid to go to a football game in 25 years. I haven't paid to go to a football game. Maybe the state games. I pay to go to the state games. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying it as a beat my chest thing. I go to the games. Coaches, they give you a pass.
Yep.
I pay for. I have no problem paying for it. But when I see it's $15, you have a family of 4. That's $60, dude.
Family is $6.90 plus you pay for parking. You're out $100. I mean, you're out.
Don't ask for a hot dog. Don't ask. You better eat ramen noodles before you go to the game. Tap water and ramen noodles.
We're smuggling in hot dogs into the high school football game.
Dots and jujubes. You know what I mean? Like, hey, man. No, but it is what it is, man. There's going to be something done. They won't continue to do this. They're going to drop the price of it because of the outrage. And it's not DJ Yokley and Andy Hake. We're talking about it. We at least, we're talking about it on a platform. You should hear the guys coming out of the bar how they feel about it before the game. They're a lot more loud. They're a lot louder.
Agreed. Coach Hake, we appreciate you, Andy, spending some time with us. Hopefully we make this a Monday thing, man.
We love you, man, and you're doing a great job. And hey, good luck to all the teams out there. And I hope they all do well and represent their communities. And above all, man, congratulations to all the kids that aren't going to be first team, second team, honorable mention, no district. Those are the kids that make high school football great. It's 95% of the kids that go out there and play their apples off, and they're not going to get any recognition other than I was a Roman soldier and I played like hell.
You're the man. That's why you're the legend.
We love you.
Thanks,
God
buddy.
bless you, and God bless America.
There he goes. Andy Hake, the legend, continues. Can't say enough. He did an awesome job on Friday night. Would love to, I mean, he's coming back on Friday, and hopefully he's always welcome. He knows that. He's always welcome as long as he's not coaching on Friday nights, and got a feeling he's going to be coaching for a long, long time on Friday nights because he gets his kids to play for him. It is time for the Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark, presented by Joe Dickey Electric. Anything commercial, residential, anything industrial, anything. Went a little too quick on the trigger that time. Anything that makes you go zap, go to DickeyElectric.com. My spark is the success. I'm going to prop up my team here at YSN from Steve Leslie and our intern Chase that we're back doing the scoreboard, watching games. Anthony Hartwig on social. We've got a slew of guys, and I'm talking enough to have 23 games covered all over the map in Ohio. It takes a village, and you are part of that village. You as a viewer are part of that village. The hardworking people out there that spend $9.99 on our games to continue to support us, but mostly to help cover us for the expenses that Andy was talking about with the OHSAA. a successful night on, from all aspects of it, from looking at, okay, technical, we didn't have really any technical difficulties, zero. As a matter of fact, just some instruction technical difficulty of people understanding, going from the 10 games that they've watched previously to the one game that they've watched in the playoffs. That will transition. But to have people be excited about what we're bringing to the table for those families that do not have the adequate funds or the means of transportation or whatever it may be to go to these games, that's what we're here for. We're not here to keep people out of the stands. We're here to bring people into the communities of these teams, of these athletes, of these coaches, to make sure that you understand that everybody went somewhere. Everybody's got a hometown, and that is our job, is to bring you closer to your hometown, no matter where you are in the world. And we appreciate certainly the opportunity to do that for you each and every night here on YSN. That's going to do it for our show. Special thanks to Andy Hake for taking his Monday out. Hopefully this turns into a Mondays with Hake kind of thing, or Hake's Take, as everybody's calling it. So thanks to him. Thanks to you for tuning in. And thanks to everybody for making YSN such a success this football season as we continue. We got 13 games here on Friday nights. We got some volleyball and soccer throughout the week. Don't forget to go to ysnlive.com/live for all your up-to-date information, the links to the games, and all, of course, every game that we have available on ysnlive.com is archived in each channel, specifically for whatever team you're looking for. More content on the way. Content is king. And that's going to do it for us here on the YSN Power Hour, brought to you by Toyota of Warren. We'll see you tomorrow, 3 to 4, right here on your sports network. YSN thanks you for watching this